Hey, all you cool kids and crazy cats. This is the OG Disney Cat telling you where it's at with all things Disney. Coming up today on a special Sunday live stream, we got to unpack and talk about all of the D23 bombshells that were dropped last week. And there's a lot to unpack, so let's get into it. So first of all, let's begin with how awesome and how cool was Neil Patrick Harris. Man, did he light it up. It was great. What a great performance. Loved the setup. Loved that whole idea of the Carousel of Progress, pulling out some of the real footage and audio lines from that, using it within there and intersperse it with all of the new announcements as they were coming in. I thought that was great. I thought it was fantastic. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, smash that notification bell so you never miss a beat. I like to talk about all things Disney, and I post a couple of times a week. Anyway, with that, let's get into it. So, let's start with everything at Walt Disney World. So, let's begin with the Magic Kingdom. So, Magic Kingdom, we got some new announcements. We finally got some additional information on Piston Peak Park. We now know what that is going to be. We got the two rides. So we're going to have the Cars Rally Race ride, which looks like it's going to be an all-independent system, and I'm sure we'll have more information to follow with that. Additionally, we're also got notification that we're going to be getting a spinner, a nice spinner attraction attached to that. And that is going to be Miss Fritter's Daredevil Spin-Along. For those of you that have been out to Cars Land in Anaheim at Disneyland, I think this is going to be like Mater's, the Mater ride there, very similar, and also very similar to the Alien Saucer Spin over at the Toy Story Land in Florida at the Walt Disney World Resort at Hollywood Studios. So that looks like that's going to be a pretty cool attraction. Looking forward to that one. I think that'll be nice for the little ones. And what a way to call in Cars 3 IP for that. So that'll be fun. As I said, the e-ticket attraction is going to be Cars Ridge Run Rally. Cars Ridge Run Rally. It looks like it's going to be an independent system. Of course, they haven't, I'm sure there'll be a lot more that gets released on that. But let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are. Thanks for everyone popping in today. We have Farmer Prep. Thank you for coming on board. We have Cooper Monique. Lark is here. A couple other people. Thanks for chiming in. Welcome to the stream. We're talking about the D23 bombshells that were dropped last week over at D23. We started with Neil Patrick Harris and his performance and that whole Carousel of Progress. Run through and run down and interspersing all of the announcements as they go along. Let me know your thoughts. I thought that was pretty cool. Drop a comment and let me know yours. We started with talking about Piston Peak, and we're talking about the first two attractions that were dropped over at Piston Peak. So, Cars Ridge Run Rally. E-ticket attraction there. Sounds really cool. Looks like independent car system. Dune buggy kind of related. I'm sure we'll get more details as it goes along, but we can confirm that that is the name. And then we also got the second name of the sort of D attraction, which is going to be Miss Fritter's Daredevil Spin-Along. That looks like it'll be a fun ride for everyone, for all the kiddies. We'll have to see what transpires there. But overall, I think it was think it was a great D23. And sticking with that, we also got some more detail on Monstropolis. For one thing, biggest news of it all, they're going to start opening it early. Yes, it's going to open in phases, but that'll be pretty cool. Looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. The previous announcements about Human Day, humans interacting, getting invited into the Monstropolis, into the monsters world. I think that's a great, genius concept. If you didn't see my video on that, check that out. Genius or Mistake was the name of that video. But I gave a pretty in-depth detail on what I thought was going to happen. And now at D23, it seems that a lot of that was accurate and did indeed happen. So pretty cool, pretty excited about that. Let me know your thoughts. Also, we got a little bit more detail, although some of it had been leaked previously, about the door coaster ride. That looks like that's going to be a home run. You're getting hoisted 40 feet in the air, and we're going to shoot off right into that door zigzag midway mania. Looking forward to that. That sounds like a great attraction. Happy to see it. And of course, the big one. It was a rumor. Most people thought it would happen. It was in some of the concept art, but Harryhausen's restaurant will be a full-blown eatery inside of Monstropolis. Complete, they did verify, complete with the giant squid octopus chef serving all the sushi. So I'm sure that's going to be a fan favorite. That'll be a tough reservation to grab, I'm sure. But so happy to see all that. And it sounds like there's going to be a lot of kinetic energy, which I think Hollywood Studios desperately needs. So sounds like Cool Kids and Crazy Cats, we're going to have a pretty full run. More than just talk, it sounds like they're really paying attention. Sounds like Disney listened to a lot of us, and they're bringing a lot of the things that we've been talking about and saying back into the park. And that is always a cool thing. So, continuing on with some of the announcements, a minor one, but a major one, depending on your point of view, the Disco Yeti getting fixed finally. So that is something long awaited. I mean, the Yeti opened, it was great. That arm swooshing across the top, for those of you that got to experience that. I think it was maybe up for about 5 months, maybe less than that. And then it went into like the mode that it's currently in. They added the strobe lights, and of course, I don't know who coined the phrase, but somebody started it with the Disco Yeti, and it's stuck, and we've all been calling it the Disco Yeti since. Let me know if you know who maybe started that, or if it was you. And here we are, folks. So the Disco Yeti getting fixed. So we'll have a Yeti in place again on Expedition Everest. How cool is that? Looking forward to it. And the other big thing that I'm really looking forward to is Villains Land. I mean, you know, that's been talked about for so long. I think I had hair when they first started talking about Beastly Kingdom, or even a fifth gate, or a potential fifth gate, or something along those lines. But now we know it is going to officially be called Villains Land. We actually know some of the theming. We're going to get this cursed fountain, which is the reason that the land is now haunted or cursed and occupied by villains. So that's pretty amazing. The concept art looked great. I like that. I think that the theming from the art that they released and what they spoke about as we move from Piston Peak into the woodland areas, and we're sort of going to get that slow transition into the twisted vines, similar to what's in some of the Snow White when she runs into the woods. And then we're going to get, and that will slowly become Villain's Land, which will be awesome. And so the story of that, I think that's a great job with the theming. They even put together, you know, a little bit of how the land is now cursed and talking more about that fountain. You know, let me know what you think. And we got a few more people popping into the chat here, so welcome and thanks a lot. Thanks for joining in. What do we have here? We got Looper Monique, Gloria Stowe, Shane MMA. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate you. Please give us a like and a subscribe, and check out my other videos. I have about 50 videos out right now on then versus now and Disney histories, and a lot of footage that I filmed on my camcorder back in the day. For those of you new to the channel, I've been attending Disney World, Walt Disney World, since 1972 when I was a little boy. I've gone virtually every year ever since, and pretty much since the early 90s when I could buy a camcorder. I've been videotaping and filming lots of stuff, and now I'm putting it all up on YouTube and putting that together. So I just released a big EPCOT time capsule. If you haven't seen that yet, 1996 EPCOT Center time capsule. I've got real footage back in the day of Horizons, World of Motion, and of course Dreamfinder, which was another big announcement that popped out at D23. We're getting Dreamfinder and Figment back. Don't know if that's going to be a meet and greet. Are they fixing the ride? Are they bringing back the old ride? Is it going to be some kind of new iteration of a mix of the old ride with the new ride? But whatever it's going to be, that is going to be an awesome, awesome day when that happens. I mean, you know, Dreamfinder and Figment, when EPCOT opened, were the centerpiece of the park. There was no Fab Five. There were no princesses. There were no superheroes back then. The characters and the meet and greet was Dreamfinder and Figment. But we'll talk more about that in a minute when we get over to EPCOT. But let's finish up with Villain's Land. So you know, we're gonna definitely get a attraction. It looks like we're gonna get an awesome Maleficent roller coaster in there. Judging from that sort of concept art and a little bit that they put out at D23, I have a feeling that's gonna like sort of be along the lines of a people mover. It looks to me like that coaster is going to sort of wrap around Villain's Land, sort of bobbing in and out and all around, which would be great because that'll supply some kinetic energy to that park, to that land rather, which I think would be pretty freaking awesome. I can't wait to see that. So let me know your thoughts on that. And then, you know, we'll still be getting some more additional information about Villain's Land, you know, in the days ahead. But I think we're off to a rocking start. I think Josh Tomorrow, you know, with the amount of time that he spent in the park and being as he was in the college program and he worked his way, you know, through the parks and was president of, you know, Disney Parks and Experiences before this job. I think he's the right guy, and I think he understands what you and I and a lot of the other fans been talking about and kind of want to see for a long time. So yeah, really cool stuff going on. Let's also talk about, I started with Neil Patrick Harris and the Carousel of Progress, but let's actually talk about Carousel of Progress for a few minutes. Sounds like I love the idea. I think it's a good way to pay homage to the original, and also move that ride forward starting with the 1960s version as the opening scene and having the Walt audio animatronic to sort of tell that tale and start us off. I think that's going to be a home run. And then, of course, moving into the 80s, and then somewhere in the modern timeline. So I think that's 3 really good scenes, and I love the choices of the acting. To have Cranston and Jamie Lee Curtis doing the voices, I think that's going to be outstanding. They haven't said who's going to play the daughter and the son or Uncle Orville yet, but I'm sure we'll get those announcements next. So how cool is that? Carousel of Progress. So, you know, if you think about it, that's going to make for a really nice Tomorrowland now. We'll have the new Carousel of Progress. We already got the new Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin, which is awesome. Tron we got a few years ago, which is doing great stuff. Space Mountain, we didn't get any announcements about what's going to happen there, but I got a feeling maybe once Piston Peak opens up, we're probably going to have something going on with Space Mountain. I just hope they don't knock it all down and start over like they're doing in Tokyo. But I will say some of those concept art pieces and some of the video that they threw up for what's going on in Tokyo that looked really cool. But my hope is we can keep the outside at Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom the same, that classic white, iconic looking building. But the inside definitely needs some love. Maybe we can make the ride smoother, faster, a little more visual effects, certainly some better audio, maybe some kind of different amped up surround sound or something like that. Let me know what you think. But that was the one I was, they spoke a lot about Space Mountain, particularly for Tokyo. And they also mentioned they're bringing back the original version of Space Mountain at Paris Disneyland. So that's a home run too. So, I know a lot of people in general were sort of kind of down on the lack of major detail, but the amount of bombs that they were dropping at this D23, I think it was nothing short of any reason to not be excited about what's going on. But let's continue on with back in Florida at Walt Disney World. So we've already spoken about Villains Land and Monstropolis and Carousel of Progress, all really, really cool stuff. Looking forward to all of those. Can't wait to see what's going on. What was your favorite attraction or part of what they announced? Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulty here. We'll keep going. But let's move on to EPCOT. So in EPCOT, I mean, they kept it to the very end, but boy, did that make a big splash. I mean, social media was lighting up like a Christmas tree, the end of that performance. Neil Patrick Harris. And let me just say, I loved the setup. I loved how he came out, sort of mimicking the old tour guide on the Great Movie Ride over at Disney Hollywood Studios with his back to the audience, with his finger pointed non-believer and all of that. Great callback for the Great Movie Ride. And then teasing you promised me if I announced this show, you would bring my favorite character back, strip away the robe, turns around, bam, he's all in gear as the Dreamfinder. How awesome was that? So really, really, really cool stuff. And it looked great. It was just great to see the Dreamfinder with Figment in hand, brought back a lot of memories for me. I remember those days very well. Dreamfinder and Horizons were like my 1 and 2 early days of EPCOT, and closely followed by Cranium Command. Loved that attraction in the now defunct Wonders of Life Pavilion. But yeah, Epcot's changed a lot from its early days and what was there when it opened and what they were putting out there. Although a lot of the pavilions remain, some of the rides are the same, but it's a different vibe now. But I think that we're kind of getting back to a nice blended mix. I mean, don't get me wrong. Cosmic Rewind, Guardians of the Galaxy, hands down, that is the best, coolest, most phenomenal roller coaster I've ever been on in my life. Nothing like it in the world. I've been to a gajillion theme parks, but wow, that was a home run. Do I miss Universe of Energy? Sure, but Cosmic Rewind, that's a home run. That's a keeper. Love it, love it. Let me know your thoughts on that. The Dreamfinder coming back. We'll have to see what the full immense version of that looks like, but I'm excited about that. Even if it's only a meet and greet, but I have a feeling it's going to be more than that. I think they're going to tweak that ride. There are portions of that ride that are still from the original. And the Dreamfinder's sort of blimp that he drove around in, that still exists. That was hanging on the wall at Gearworks, the big shopping emporium that they had at EPCOT up until this most recent revamp of the center of that park. So that's still floating around somewhere. So they could probably fix that, tweak it, bring it back, maybe build something that looks like it, but that's newer. Not sure, but we'll have to see. And I do think they will. I think we're going to be done with the Imagination Institute sort of flow and feel of that ride. I have a sneaking suspicion that it'll be a little closer aligned with the original, where it was about your dreams and your sparks of imagination and what they can bring forth into the world. And then we'll probably still keep some of the mirror images and some of the attractions that are on there. And maybe with the tech that we have today, we'll get something new that we'll be talking about for the next 20 or 30 years. But let me know your thoughts, so. So MMA is asking, is the anime Superman a Walt Disney Studios production? I don't think that is, because the Batman was part of the DC world, although some of that did come through with the 20th Century purchase, but I'm going to have to do some digging on that and find out, but I'm not sure. But that is some cool stuff too. So thanks for bringing that up. Continuing on with with EPCOT and Dreamfinder and Figment, let me know your thoughts on if you've ever experienced that, what you know about it. And like I said, I've got some footage that I put up earlier this week on the original Dreamfinder, and I am going to be putting out along with that. I've got the full, about 90% of the ride in its original form on my old home video footage. So I'm going to put out the full footage of what I have on the original journey into imagination with Dreamfinder and Figment. Horizon and World of Motion, which was the precursor to Test Track. But check out what I put out earlier this week. I put out 3 sort of shorts, and there's one long video where I have about 2 or 3 minutes of each of those rides in the long. But full point of view, home footage from like 30 years ago from my camcorder that I'll be putting out there. So let me know what you think about that. Let's move over, obviously, to Animal Kingdom. That we spoke about the Yeti a little bit, the Disco Yeti getting fixed. Let me know your sort of thoughts on that. And, you know, do you feel that the Yeti still holds up? I mean, I thought it was a great attraction. I probably have that, the current mix of roller coasters in the 4 parks at Walt Disney World in Florida. I have that as like my number 2. I've got Cosmic Rewind 1, Everest 2, and I had Rock and Roller Coaster, the Aerosmith version, at 3. I'm going to have to go back and do another ranking soon. I do love the theming of Muppets. It's essentially the same ride, just Muppet themed. I think that probably still stays at 3, but I gotta put some thoughts on that. Gotta go ride them all again. Let me know what you think. Let me know what's your top 3 roller coasters of the 4 parks at Disney World. I mean, my personal favorite, just because I've been riding it since I was like a little kid, is Space Mountain. I remember when it opened in '75. The first time I rode that would have been over a holiday break in '76. So the ride was like about 4 months old. But I've been riding that, and that is my go-to. It's my OG, if you will, as far as roller coasters and rides go. I personally start and end every trip that I take to the Magic Kingdom with Space Mountain. And when they do the Halloween Mickey's Not So Scary overlay all in the dark, gotta do that. That's a home run also. Love, love, love that. Let me know your thoughts on that as well. All right. Let's see. Keeping on with, D23. So we got to go over and talk a little bit about Disneyland. So Disneyland is getting a pretty big push, particularly Tomorrowland. I mean, that's been a rumor and something we've been talking about for umpty-dump years at this point. So Disneyland, Tomorrowland, getting a whole lot of love, getting a whole revamp there. I think the People Mover is going to get reopened. That sounds awesome. That will provide some additional kinetic energy. Obviously, their version of Carousel of Progress, getting some love. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Oh, and I forgot. Silly me. How can we leave Animal Kingdom without talking about Tropic Americas? 2 big, now 3 actually announcements we got there. Sorry about that. We'll get back to Anaheim in a second. The Encanto ride, the Indiana Jones attraction, and the Coco attraction all got announced. We know those are happening, and those are going to be awesome. So Indiana Jones and the Curse of the Jade Serpent, of course it's a snake. Always got to be a snake, right? Harrison Ford teasing that at D23. How cool is that? That is going to be an outstanding experience. The Encanto the Encanto Casita, and the boat ride that we're going to get out of that. That sounds awesome. And they also announced all of the original voices will be coming back from Encanto, from the movie, to host all of that. So how awesome, how great. And that is just going to be that section of the park again, which, you know, listen, Dinosaur was great. It did its thing. It had its day. But the Boneland and the, you know, the rest of that attraction and the, you know, the spin and the wash cycle little roller coaster that they had going on there, those were nice. Carnival games were okay. Triceratops spin was okay. But I think this Tropical America section with Indiana Jones, with Encanto, and with Coco is just going to be a home run. I think that end of the park is going to be booming again. It'll be a lot of life back there. And maybe we get some extended hours then again at AK. I think that park needs to be open later than 6 o'clock, especially given that the whole Pandora and that whole Avatar section is beautiful at night. But if it's closed, you know, if the park closes early, you can't see the lights. So I'm hoping that with these 3 attractions, we get some more hours, extended hours, and we can make that, you know, an all-day park. And sure, I get it. We have to take care of the animals. We have to be conscientious of that. So the safari and the treks and, you know, the Natazu section of the park, maybe that closes at, you know, at 6 or 7 or something like that. But maybe the back end of the park where Tropical Americas is going to be, hopefully that part of the park and Pandora can stay open till later in the day. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts? And then, you know, the Coco attraction too. So, you know, we now know that's going to be an attraction that is dedicated to the music of Miguel's great-great-grandfather, Hector Rivera. So I think that'll be nice. We'll get a little callback there to the land of the dead. And, you know, I've thought for a long time, at the Three Caballeros attraction in the Mexican Pavilion, there is a section that's dedicated to, you know, the Day of the Dead. And I always thought that you know, they could have put a little Coco thing in there. But I'm thinking with this new attraction, they're going to take that sort of theme and concept and really blow that up over at this Coco attraction. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on that. And I'm sure, you know, what they didn't really talk about at Tropical Americas, but you know it's going to be there, is I'm sure we're going to get some outstanding cuisine. We will probably get at least 3 or 4 other eateries back there, catering to that Tropical Americas theme, which I think is awesome. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And that will also add, you know, to the kinetic energy of that park. So back to Disneyland. So Disneyland, aside from everything we've spoken about already, it sounds like the other thing that we're going to get a lot of is we're going to get a lot of live entertainment back at Disneyland, which I think is awesome. I mean, and for a large section of the population who aren't necessarily roller coaster thrill seeker people, that's a beauty and magic of all the Disneyland parks. I know a lot of people like to watch the shows, the parades, the live action, the streetmosphere, if you will. And I'm hoping not only that they bring it back to its glory in Disneyland, but that they also bring that back, particularly at Hollywood Studios. And I would love to see more at Magic Kingdom in Florida. If you've ever been to Disneyland, characters just roam. And they used to roam a lot in Florida, too, at Walt Disney World Resort. Everything's a little more formalized now in Florida with the meet and greets. So I'm hoping we get some roaming. Maybe the roaming can be of the characters you don't see so much anymore. There used to be a lot of the Robin Hood characters roaming about, and the Pinocchio characters and others. So let's see what we get in terms of live entertainment. New parade coming to Disneyland, which I know a lot of people are excited about. Remember, dreams come true. Lights up Disneyland again when it all comes back. So some really, really cool stuff. World of Color, which was great. I loved the original World of Color. Glad to see that that's coming back. I think that's going to be a big home run and a big move as well. And of course, we got a lot of cruise line news. Lots and lots and lots of stuff going on there. Getting a whole entire new category of ships, 3 categories there, and a new cruise ship getting ready to get deployed there. So lots of stuff going on the cruise lines. So and of course, the Avengers campus. So amazing, really great. All in all, this was an outstanding D23. I think one of the best D23s that's probably happened in the last, I don't know, since its inception. Maybe the best D23 ever. I think they should bring Neil Patrick Harris back again to do the next one. Anyway, this is just a quick little video today to go over some of the D23 bombshells that have dropped. I'll be doing individual videos on all of that. As always, please like, subscribe. Appreciate the love from everyone. Thank you for being here. And remember, everybody wants to be a cat because the cat's the only cat who knows where it's at. See you real soon. Thanks for being here. Have an outstanding Sunday.